Assalamu alaikum and welcome to a brand new episode of Show Shine. Yes, this is Alamdar Khan. इसमें आपको पता है कि what we do is we try to bring in people जो कि हमारी different walks of life से आते हैं, but उनकी ideology कुछ ऐसी होती है, उनका जो creativity कुछ ऐसी होती है, उनकी जो presence होती है वो कुछ ऐसी होती है जो कि हम चाहते हैं कि एक inspirational perspective पे आप तक पहुंच सके. तो उसमें मैं बड़े मुश्किल से एक इंसान को ढूंढ के लाया हूँ जो कि मुझसे काबू में नहीं आ रहा था because he was quite occupied in terms of the work that was being done recently in the field of advertising. Yes, मैं एक one of the biggest advertising guru की बात करने लगा हूँ. A very dear friend of mine, a very humble guy, Owais Hamid Khan. Assalamu alaikum Owais bhai, how are you?
Hey Alamdar, thank you for having me over.
Pleasure brother, thank you for being here. तो Owais भाई हम स्टार्ट करते हैं. सबसे पहला सवाल मेरा as usual हमेशा पॉडकास्ट में ही होता है जो भी मेरा गेस्ट आता है कि if you have to define Owais कौन है to the audience, तो Owais कौन है?
Okay, there's different levels to that.
Yes.
So, as a career, I always thought of myself as a person who wants to do what he wants to do. So,
Right.
I have the freedom of, because I always thought that success will not be mine if I don't love what I do. So,
Right.
advertising and communication, I wanted to be in the creative field.
सही.
My dad wanted me to be an engineer.
जो पुराने वक्त
जो पुराना
हाँ,
तीन चार प्रोफेशनल
डॉक्टर बने इंजीनियर बने जी हाँ
and I was the finest student like I used to top in the art class
अच्छा
so it was myself and then the rest of the girls and then the boys
अच्छा nice
so I was trying to discover and my father suddenly वो परेशान हो गए कि यार तू आर्टिस्ट बनेगा तो आर्टिस्ट तो कुछ कमाता नहीं है
हाँ
तो no तुम इंजीनियर बनोगे I know you can do engineering so I discovered and by jumping couple of careers I started with banking went into insurance, went into sales, and finally found what I was looking for.
So right now being in the advertising क्योंकि मैं अगर हिस्ट्री उठा के देखता हूँ आपकी तो आपने काफ़ी एक्सपेरिमेंट्स भी किए because a lot of students, younger generation out there, they have a lot of questions in their heads कि यार मैं पता नहीं इतने साल मैंने एडवर्टाइजिंग को दिया नहीं चल सका इतना टाइम मैंने डॉक्टरी को दिया कुछ लोग होते हैं डॉक्टर होते हैं एंड में इंजीनियर बन जाते हैं तो आप सिर्फ ये बताएं कि इज इट ईजियर to still choose a path कि आप टेस्ट कर सकते हैं failures ही होंगे ना because that's one thing
I think it's unless and until like abroad people have counselors they will teach you and tell you what you're supposed to do
right
but I personally feel that yes you have to experiment you have to and that probably early part of your career
जी
why I'm still with advertising is because it's a passion
right
whatever you do whatever you work on gets published the very next morning
सबसे बड़ी बात
और आपके जो critics हैं किसी एनजीओ में काम कर रहा था बस एक प्रोजेक्ट है 10 साल चल रहा है और पता चला इसकी जरूरत ही नहीं थी
right
बिल्कुल सही या फंड खत्म हो गए so this is something which gives me that kick
right
that whatever you're working on and it's against the timeline there are deadlines to it so वो मजा बहुत आता है and then really रगड़ा तो दबा के है I remember I reached my brother's wedding ceremony just 10 minutes before they were about to so माँ ने पूछा कहाँ थे मैंने काम कर रहा था कैंपेन थी क्लाइंट ने इसका बुलाया so that's the kind of passion you require for it
और आजकल तो खैर वैसे भी ये बताइएगा आजकल तो everything is so much digitalized as well ना even though you're not at office but you are in office
yes
तो उसको adaptation में how easy do you think it is आपको क्या लगता है चीजें आसान हुई हैं या मुश्किल हुई
tougher हो गई much way tougher so
the moment आप भाग सकते थे
the moment you define कि नहीं जी मैं 5 बजे फोन कॉल नहीं अटेंड करूंगा that is taken as a very negative
अच्छा इस फील्ड में खास तौर पे
because we're service our job is basically creating communication for clients
right
जो कि हमसे उन्हें पैसे दे रहे होते हैं that's how it is so
adaptation मुझे थोड़ा सा बताएं how difficult was it to adapt to जिस तरह भी recently times जिस तरह चेंज हो रहे हैं टेक्नोलॉजी बढ़ रही है पहले हम मॉनिटर नहीं कर सकते थे पहले न्यूज़ हॉकर्स होते थे उनकी हम मेजरमेंट्स करते थे कि भाई कितने हॉकर्स कहाँ डिलीवर कर रहे हैं अखबार जा रहे हैं डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन क्या है उस तरह डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चलती थी अभी इट्स अ डिफरेंट बॉल गेम अभी आप मेन स्ट्रीम आपका जो टेलीविजन वाला को फिर लोग नहीं देखते एवरीबडी इज इवेंचुअली ऑन देयर ईदर फोन्स और लैपटॉप्स और आईपैड्स एंड एक्सेट्रा तो इसमें जो आपने अडेप्टेशन की वो आपको कैसी लगी द ट्रांजिशनिंग टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट फ्रॉम back in the good old days तो कैसा आपको लगा
so I have a secret here the secret is very simple be around the people who use it actually
right
so I have an age issue
right.
generation gap hai I'm not that prone to the cell phone or the way it's works so what I do is I surround myself with younger people
right
and I talk to them and I try to get तो insight मिलती रहती है कि how they're actually reacting to and I am acting as an observer advertising आदमी ना highly observant होता है otherwise he cannot create So because he tries to understand those little insights or little pulses that your audience gives out, right?
Right.
So younger people, they know how to deal with it, one, and I know how they are acting or how they're using it.
Right.
So training myself constantly.
बिल्कुल सही.
It's a tough job. It's a tough one for us, but since the basics are the same, communication.
The basics are the same, but one basic पे फिर मैं आने लगा हूँ जो कि अभी different होने लगी है, जो कि उसके लिए भी basic same होने लगी है, because this is something artificial intelligence को हम अभी जो engage करते हैं, basically तो a lot of people run away from AI and they say कि नहीं यार. In my humble opinion, I think it is something out there and it is worth it, and you can do so much because it's out there, so it is better to do it now. आप उसकी adaptation बताएं कि उसको जब आप अपने prompts देते हैं, basically it's all about how you give prompts. तो उसकी वजह से is advertising for you as a person, will it kill jobs or will it be a beneficial part of the industry?
Okay, so we have to train ourselves here. I think that जब भी technology change होती है, नई technology आती है, जैसे AI है, you need to adopt it. You can't say no to it.
Right.
So there's a lot of this pressure group which says, oh, this is going to kill people's jobs and blah blah blah. It might.
लोग कहते हैं ना, लोग सबसे ज़्यादा तो यही लोग बोलना होते हैं ना कि AI
to a certain extent, but I personally feel कि it's all about prompting, as you said, and there has to be a sane mind behind it. Yes, it's really
creative writer.
Creative. There has to be somebody
absolutely
who can guide that AI to produce what this. So what happens is that what I would do in probably 2 days, 3 days is done in 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
हाँ, बिल्कुल ऐसी है.
But you need that right person behind it. So prompting and so far, I don't know about the future, but I'm ready to adopt it for the future. So
तो अभी मैं आपसे गुफ्तगू हो रही थी अपने मार्के हक में भी, you were quite occupied and did इसी वजह से आप कहते हैं अलमदार में एक दफ़ा फ्री हो जाऊँ, तो कैंपेन से तो थोड़ा बताएंगे उस हवाले से कि what campaign were you doing for them, और उसमें फिर आपसे मेरी गुफ्तगू हुई तो you said I used some AI tools.
So obviously, so I work with the Ministry of Information. They're one of my biggest clients, and they tasked us to, so we went through the competition process. And the main job was that we need to come up with something which is celebratory, yet it defines the commendable job our armed forces did. And the people at that time, I don't know if you recall, when the war started, in the 6th or 7th night, people were immediately on social media. The younger generation was coming up with, memes and all sorts of responses. And there was a huge, propaganda war happening, both from our side and predominantly from their side. Their media went berserk. So it's not only the armed forces, but it's the people of Pakistan who actually got behind the armed forces. I mean, there's scenes, there are visuals. A lot of viral videos happened where you would see Fateh 1 being fired and children and young people just sitting there, they're not even shocked, they're waiting as if, something's going to happen.
Absolutely.
एक बंदा 12 बोर लेके आके सिपाही के साथ ड्रोन को फायर कर रहा है.
बिल्कुल पूरा everybody was united.
So I wanted to catch that spirit, and at that time Brian Marsoos was the name given to the operation.
बिल्कुल जी.
So the Sisa Bilai Diwar, the armed forces and the people of Pakistan, they all were together, and they were like, one couldn't go past them. Absolutely. So that spirit had to be captured. So I did a song, which was done by Shiraz Opal sang the song.
Right.
Fusion Imu composed it. And then there were a couple of other songs, and there were some monologues.
Very interesting.
Which were used at the ceremony at the Pakistan Monument.
Right.
But along with that, I created a lot of digital media. So there was a rap song. I shared that.
I saw that. Bilkul.
Yeah, and so AI was used in it. A lot of musicians were given the opportunity to sing in it. So a lot of digital medium was produced, which could be shared with the audience. Right. And then people started sharing them. So this is what I was busy with this.
Absolutely.
And since the stakes were really high.
Very high. Absolutely. अब तो सिर्फ मेरे ख्याल में तो it's अब तो सब डिजिटल है. I think you don't even have to, you can't even waste a minute. आजकल तो वो वाला सीन चल रहा है कि 1 मिनट ऊपर नीचे नहीं हो सकता आपका.
And the war is still continuing as far as media is concerned, because वहाँ से भी एक अटैक आता है, फिर यहाँ से भी. So we try to help as much as we can.
Absolutely. मुझे वैसे भी ये बताइएगा कि right now you're working with Channel 7, right?
That's right.
आप बीच में अपनी एक फिल्म भी आपने बनाई थी थोड़ा सा उसके बारे में बताएंगे आइडियाज के हवाले से.
Yeah,
आइडियाज
so I started that. I used to work with different agencies before that, and back in 2002, I thought that I should have something of my own.
जी.
So entrepreneurial skills थी तो सही, लेकिन my family comes from the military background, so nobody actually ever started a business.
Right.
So I just jumped into it. I burnt my sales and got into it.
Right.
So I ran it for about 18 years.
Right.
And then, sometimes you make some bad decisions. Sometimes, मुल्क के हालात ऐसे हो गए, investments कम होना शुरू हो गए.
Right.
Then there was a domino effect.
Right.
So there's a time when I thought, it's better to park it.
बिल्कुल ठीक है.
And so I started consultancies. I started working with the World Bank.
Very nice.
I was working with Pakistan Tobacco as a consultant. And then this friend of mine, Jawad, he's the owner of Chansam. He said, you're doing consultancies, that fine, you can do that later in the evening. Why don't you come for now? So yeah, so that's how I'm here. So it's been about almost 2.5 years now. So.
Any messages for the younger generation out there who are watching you?
Do what you love to do. I mean, I think this is the time for not a degree. I mean, I don't discourage a degree, but something of a skill.
Skill.
So adopt a skill, and if you enjoy it, just make it your profession, and I think you will grow because you enjoy it.
Yes.
So
you got to do what you love.
But just place yourself correctly. You should be positioning yourself in the market as correctly. I know this young girl who makes nails for ladies. She's making more than her dad ever made, just because of the skill set. So and it's respectable to work.
Absolutely.
It's you just don't take it as कि जी अच्छा जी ब्यूटी पार्लर खोल लिया.
नहीं बिल्कुल ठीक है.
There's another name for a beauty parlor.
Well, thank you very much, Owais, for being a part of the show and making it very lovely. I think everybody out there would definitely have learned something. Once again, thank you.
Thank you.
And guys, this was Owais Hamid Khan, and आपको पूरा message भी मिल गया in terms of his journey, and obviously, as he said, that just do what you love to do and never give up. Till then, take care of yourselves. All the best. Allah Hafiz.